Namo manju shi ye, Namo su shi, O Dhamma shi ye so ha, O Namo manju shi ye, Namo su shi ye, Namo O Dhamma shi ye so ha. Ye chona la janju bandu nandi kya su chi, da ke junyen ke be so nangi, jo la benje sangye jo ba jo. Junang zoge chona la janju bandu nandi kya su chi, da ke junyen ke be so nangi, jo la benje sangye jo ba jo. Junang zoge chona la janju bandu nandi kya su chi, da ke junyen ke be so nangi, jo la benje sangye jo ba jo. Peke jojin me dora, rirali jini te kembadi, sange jindo mi te uwaye, roke nanda jina chuba jo, ita guru rana mandala kandi ya daya mi.
All sentient beings have been my mothers, and all sentient beings have been my mothers for numberless times. They are as kind as my mother in this life. Even though all kind mother sentient beings want happiness and do not want even a small suffering. However, due to engaging wrongly in objects of adoptions and abandonment, they experience sufferings only. In our mind, sincerely generate loving kindness towards all kind mother sentient beings, thinking, how nice it would be if all kind mother sentient beings had excellent happiness. May all kind mother sentient beings have excellent happiness. I will cause all kind mother sentient beings to have excellent happiness. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. Next, we generate compassion towards all suffering mother sentient beings, thinking, how nice it would be if the body of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from discordant class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as pain, sickness, and problems caused by four elements. May the body of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the body of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. How nice it would be if the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue, such as fear, anxiety, coarse and subtle conceptual thoughts. May the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the minds of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so. How nice it would be if the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings were free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue, those negative speech such as lying, harsh speech, coarse and subtle negative speech. May the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the speech of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
What is do dinner to judge man dinner? Go so to Gish or to Balam, keep each other, father that I'm a general. Chichi told the Bishop of the Russian Lama and Shinji.
In brief, how nice it would be if the three doors of all mother sentient beings were free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. May the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings be free from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. I will free the three doors of all suffering mother sentient beings from the class that is discordant with accomplishing virtue. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
What is the one nice in the tongue? She do me, Judah, do it a ton of tomorrow. Or Chichi told the Bishop of the Russian Lama.
How nice it would be if all mother sentient beings were free from suffering and its cause. May all mother sentient beings be free from suffering and its cause. I will free all mother sentient beings from suffering and its cause. Lama, please bless me to be able to do so.
What is the one nice in the tongue? She called and yes, do want to doing this. A lot of them Yarala project. I didn't get the Yanta was Sanji Kubar Silas and Nata was the Sanji. Sanji to the Sanji Kubar, which is changing the show.
Next, we generate bodhicitta first by asking ourselves, who should take on the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and lower realms? I should take on the responsibility to free all mother sentient beings from the sufferings of samsara and lower realms. However, I do not have the ability to do so now. Who has the ability? Those who have achieved the perfect complete enlightenment have the abilities to do so. Therefore, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, by all means, I will achieve enlightenment.
What is the Tanji Sanji Kumbata Shao? Maybe seconds about the Rangamuga Daichi Roof, number two. Chelanger, with the Matu Tumban, Ranga said, Rogi to Tentam, the Rangamuga Daichi, Jacob, say, number two, with Tanji James.
Next, we generate all-encompassing yoga mind. Our conventional aspiring bodhicitta that thinks, for the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve enlightenment. This transform into a perfect white mundis at one's heart. And the ultimate bodhicitta, that is one's mind becoming in one taste with emptiness, the lack of inherent existence, that transform into a white five-pronged vajra on top of the mundis.
那这就是到风波的上，一直准备记得他的康调嘛，这个人就准备多么有啥子风波的处理生命。
Next, we meditate on emptiness, that I exist neither intrinsically one with nor intrinsically different from the aggregates. Thus, I do not exist intrinsically.
Ở đây就是我是能去到我兄弟呢，给上肯定基本呢，就是拍起这个能力去系统的去思考，给全部生产。当我是年上的去岁年上的前边开始，所以刚才我是就给找肯定就找我原来呀，现实阶段我找我的地形就地区的话，当年是当时也会去面对觉得我呢，也我自己开始去认识。
And as I always say, that it's very important to conjoin whatever virtue we do with the practice of 6 perfections. The first one is the practice of generosity. And generosity is mainly a mind of giving. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, whatever roots of virtue that I accumulate through my 3 doors, I give it to all sentient beings, so that all sentient beings will be free from all sufferings.
那第一就是我说，年上过是前边个是，但这种情，不是哪里谁都不去。但这种上呢，我说帮一生吧，这种情我是没有。但我说另外个年纪是不一样的。但第三我说年上过是前边个是，但另外个年纪我都没就啊，出现的帮谁的，你都觉得吧，你穷不一样，也这种不是哪里谁都不是。
Next is the practice of ethical discipline or morality. And morality is a mind of abandoning. What does it abandon? It abandons physical and verbal negativities. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will properly abandon my physical and verbal negativities so that they do not manifest.
那第一就是我是随便让你去谁都不去了，就是你个，那谁把谁的我是民主的谁把谁，也看到谁把我的说是的。 当我是年上不是前边告诉，但女生呢，刚刚搞这些东西呢，对了，当到里谁都不是，因为当年就是吧，去了呢自己什么事，经常忙活有是吧？你那我说，东西当到里都不去，谁都不去。
Next is the practice of patience. And patience is an undisturbed mind. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, whatever physical or mental hardships occur, I will willingly accept it. I will embrace it.
那第一就是我说尊重不行是吧？但尊重上人给我做一些什么什么尊重我的了吧？那第身上我说，那年上不是结巴了，说说呗，谁搞我的做，谁搞我的做一点，他刚才给我做的，甚至就掉下去的，你说那个谁给我做什么呢？那尊重不行原来是嘛？
Next is the practice of joyous effort. And joyous effort is a mind that takes delight in virtue. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will take delight in accomplishing virtue and working for the welfare of sentient beings.
那第一就是我是上帝就不行原来是嘛？上帝是我是谁给你个为了最基本的还是上帝就有的是吧？那第四我是年上不是基本个是身体。 弄到的弄样我都不是，我是给小我这个地，地了把谁的念头过去，你是怎么样呢？你上帝把人家的生活也是。
Next is the practice of meditative stabilization. And meditative stabilization is a mind that single-pointedly focuses on the intended object. Is a mind that single-pointedly focuses on any of the virtuous object. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will single-pointedly focus my mind on the intended objects and do not come under the power of conceptual thoughts and afflictions.
다 대지는 가서 쉐를 것이 냐는 있습니다. 다 쉐에서는 그 쉐라 넘기실로 있어요. 다 대송자 다 가서 내사고서 제비 가서 내사고서 제바대배 비율라 친구가 시바지. 다보다 편지 친구 못하게 예 솔라 친구 사요. 시바지. 다 근데 내사고서 마지바이나 다 마지바 대왕의 몸바 마리바다 차다모서 와는 레메바 나서 사는데 반다 고알베 마 젤라메바 등이 너무 이게 내미 친구냐 가지. 시바지. 애니 제바 시바지. 이 시바마서 딱 까도 지면서 막 지식되게 돼. 수다 대 가리는 대야 고 내가 시도 봐. 어때 둘이 정말이나 딱 쉐로 지나는 다시 년에 생각했어.
Next is the practice of wisdom, and wisdom is an awareness that thoroughly distinguishes phenomena. So during these 2 hours of listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will properly understand the benefits of doing so and the faults of not doing so, such as if I do not engage in listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma, I will fall under the control of afflictions and conceptual thoughts. That results in my suffering experience, unbearable suffering experience in future. So I properly understand the faults of not listening, contemplating, and meditating on Dharma. And on top of that, I will properly understand the words and meanings of the teachings.
대지는 희생제 단지된 산지식 공부도 봐. 대지도 다 간다 저분한테는 지키는 년에 측인데 지는 뜻을 쓰는 공부도 사람들이 동시에 근데 뭐라고 시키셨어?
Setting a good motivation. For the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve enlightenment. For this purpose, I will properly receive the commentary on the holy teachings, Lamrim, and practice accordingly in order to benefit sentient beings.
Oh yeah, thank you.
That's all.
더 간단히 얘기한데 이 파시주기 년에 해야 돼. 주세니 그린가라 답바르기니 주세니 그린가라 이 파시주기 년에 지도 같이 제시어서 지난 가서 답바르기 제 투너도 야보래 된 가서다 내가 뭐보다 쉬지로 와. 장사 뭐보지 내가 뭐보지 답에 다시서 파시주기 년에 답바르기는 세지가 대고 대도야 디스컬레요 와. 드니소다 가서 쉬지비가라. 주세니 그린가라 가서 때 이 가서 받아 가서 왜 내서 때 리신 참아던 거서 추쇼가 반도도 가지. 이 주바이나 왜 바시 주고 안에 있어요. 이 제가 쉬지 그래서 배워다 니발랍 좀 쉬지 와. 아주 최전에 바시 주고 안에 있어도 가지 주바이나 난 니가 쳐야 이거 와. 뭐 따버리신 가서 그 상당하게 괜찮아. 이래로 와. 이 가서 진짜 뒤잖아야 내가 뭐뭐라 난 내가 뭐뭐이디 야 가서 추쇼고 샤워야 생각할래 가고 이거 와.
Yeah, so I always mention that it's very important to conjoin our virtuous practice, such as attending a Dharma class, with the practice of 6 perfections. So because in general we are very busy, we have our works to do. So however, when we attend a Dharma class, then we should try our best to conjoin the virtue of attending a Dharma class with the practice of 6 perfections. So when we attend a Dharma class, it's very important to turn our body and our mind towards Dharma. So if we are able to do like that, as mentioned, then the benefits that we will receive will be great, and the power of our virtue will become greater as well. So this is the reason why I always talk about the importance of conjoining the virtue with the practice of 6 perfections. So after the class, then we have our own things to attend to, our family and our work. So at that time, then it will be difficult to conjoin the practice of 6 perfections with those activities. So when we are in the Dharma class, then we should try our best to do so.
当我做考试，这种纠结的嘛，你是在的，但你去写出的我从我嘛，多什么，就是要不就热是吧？要不就看就是嘛热意思是吧？你嘛当门嘛学是吧
？Yeah, so previously we talked about 18 root downfalls of bodhisattva vows, and today I'm going to talk about 46 secondary vows or 46 branch vows briefly.
Excuse me, Geshe-la. Since we didn't have any chance to ask question before we move on to the 46, is it okay we have asked question about the 18 root downfalls first? Is that possible?
寫出啲馬蘇咪啦，樣條話等下啲樣嚟啦，자동捉機個啦。
Yeah.
Okay. So, I actually have 2 questions. One is related to the meditation that we do on the conjoined with the 6 perfections. There is this perfection about conjoining with the perfection of concentration. We always say not to be influenced by conceptual thought. How does that work? Not because because we are studying, so there's a lot of mental conception that's going to come in, right? To analyze. So appreciate if Geshe-la could elaborate on that. That's one question. Second question is, so relating to the 18 root bodhisattva downfalls, number 16, taking the property from the triple gem. And Geshe-la, could Geshe-la please elaborate on that? Because I don't quite understand about this taking a loan. Well, actually, I didn't understand. So could Geshe-la please elaborate on Geshe-la's explanation on that? Thank you.
其實啦，呢個做啲打包啲定言先啲講幾個咯，3點啲講一啲，呢個做啲3點啲其實啲啲5個咯啦，3點啲8千啲樣5個嚟，先啲5日來呢個做嘢樣南多談南英啲啦，啲來呢嘛做話咯係啦，呢樣啲南多嘛做話，就會呢啲咖喱個咯，看先呢個做啲최장기個咯，최장話呢個做啲3路忙不累咯，3路忙不累話呢啲南多強咯，其實呢啲南多啲馬祖啊，南多嘅錯啦，馬祖啊啲肯定做其實肯定接觸嘅啦。
啲南多時話咧，我就缺到萬這邊南多，啲路幾時會落嚟？我就缺節啦，大節九八節啦，啲南多是幾時會嘛咯？但我是南多時話咧，被缺到萬這邊小人吧啦，把落的萬多去寫南多人吧，是啲幾時會咯？我说能把多把这，就在能多些，那但那点我是也得了些个事，我说另外个年纪明白我都把忙着而且等于身体，是吧？你能多些点，我说，身体讲我是没办，我是能去上帝时候的被定的了，这就都两百想这个些我，但我是上帝时候的，我是给小娃都把它身体啊，不是你头发是你定的些过来，但我是去看这些呢，拍戏出来嘛，家里写过啊。我第家的写过的，但这就是两百下工节的呢，第我是联系进入嘛，是吧？我但第一个是我是上帝写的，刚多几遍去讲的了300的年头过去，这现在被小啊，去到我那边小学的话，蛮多去，刚头去第一个就写过的事情，是吧
？Yeah. So regarding your first questions, how do we not to fall under the control of conceptual thoughts when we study Dharma, and when we study Dharma, then there are a lot of conceptual thoughts. So when we talk about conceptual thoughts in general, it is our mind, talks about, no, when we talk about conceptual thoughts is to try our best to put our mind or to focus our mind on the virtuous object. So that is in general. So, and in this particular context, when we attending a Dharma class, then we need to analyze and we need to examine the meaning and the teaching, the meaning of the teachings, right? So at this point, the conceptual thoughts that we are talking about is non-Dharma related conceptual thoughts. Yeah, so when we study Dharma, then we should not fall under the influence of conceptual thoughts that is not Dharma related. There is the first questions, and they
비비를 가게 너도 세워야 돼. 샤워 예비게 너도 봐. 그래서 뭔지 그 너도 잡은도 있고 에 차도 잡은도 있어 완전. 그래서 가서 뭐지 샤워 예비 쇼 반도 너도 들게 시고. 그래서 쩨버집에 너도 봐서 듣게 시고 말이야. 때문에 그러셔야 돼.
Yeah. So in general, if we say someone has in Tibetan, then there is a word, and we say that the person has a lot of conceptual thoughts. So there is a very rough translation of this of what Geshe-la said. So if we say that that person have a lot of conceptual thoughts, then what it means is that that person has a lot of negative conceptual thoughts. 자동 주주이나 대장 가자 건축 숨기 고렘 말에 다리 주주디 건축이 고렘 봐 아니 건축이 고렘 봐이나 디 가자 불륜다 원이 준항가마네 디 시유사리 성위도 아니 디양디 아
왜저는도
디 가자 디 지시ገብ로 나서 아니 불륜디 고라니 디 고추마송
lembo soji termito gejo chebala so pechen de kande lembo soji termito gejo chebala cheba dele cheba da termito kanda gejo cheba sola so cheba chine cheba chine de cheba chine de cheba de pa dinje chede de kunjo sunje ko so kuni kunjo sunje ma de so piya de so ma kuma ko de kolpa plete chede ko cheba chijero 그 계정 제일 기술을 다 가시 집에 저는 지 녀바면은 녀바진도 니도서는 그 제바진 니 제바진에 다 콜파 플랜 제바진이 그때 비슷 때구나 다 콜 매바시
제바 제교 돼야 불러디오 응의디 디고라
돼 응의도 다 때기나 콜 매바지 다 현대지 꾸막거네 다 꾸막거네 그 꾸막거보다 하고 같이 그런 띠네디야 그런 하고 같이 그런 게 현대디어 꾸막거네
시행기한테 건축이 고고네
군정부터 꾸막거네 코로나 플랜 때에 쳐야 돼 그 코로나고 그 꾸막거야 그런 하고는 내봐지 어디 제바이나 데 군정 고래 말해서 가다 데 렘바보다 제바 니가라 동안 지금 자동 중을 해서
Yeah. So regarding 16 root down 4 taking the property of the 3 jewels means that if, for example, a person because I rabjung in order. Yeah. So for example, if for example, an ordained person, then who has broken some rules and regulations, then he was punished. He was punished by then he received his punishment. Then the punishment is the punishment is that you have to give fine. How do we say that? So that means you have to give some money. So as a punishment. So it's the sentence or the fine is the punishment. So then you have to give the money. Then but the ordained person who broke the vows doesn't have any money. So then another person know that the person is in need of money. Then another person take the property of the 3 jewels, like the offerings of the 3 jewels, and give it to the person. And if the person, the monk who broke the vows, and knowing that these offerings or this money is a property of 3 jewels, and knowingly take the money and in order to pay the fine, then that ordained person broke the vows of taking the property of the 3 jewels. So the person who take the money and the person who steal the money also break this vow.
더 그런데 랭키의 땡기 니가라 상식이 너무 여바이나 된 니가라 잡은 점을 해서 고마 게 여러 코파 땡기다 랭키 니가라 너무 여바이나 니가라 잡은 점을 해서
Yeah, so if the person who steal the money of the 3 jewels, the money offered to the 3 jewels, and the person who knowingly take the property of the 3 jewels, if they have bodhisattva vows, then both of them break these 16 vows.
But then, sorry. So how is this different from transgression number 5?
So, kisah tadi zadong jutu ang tadi zadong jutu dan zadong ngawade yang jauh dua kuncu sungi ko coba tang ini kuncu ni ko lembang ini di keba kari yunas ngawade
and then just to confirm, nothing to do with loan, right?
고 초바다 랑 코랑 랑이 되는다. 랑 코니 되는다. 근데 이게 많죠. 그 군주스 제 군주스를 지어 뜻을 초바다.
ngawade
랑 코니 마바다 랑 코니 치다. 나
주주이나?
봐 여기나 랑 코니 치다. 나라 랑게 치다. 근데 이게 많죠. 되는데 그 군주스 제 거데. 초바. 그래서 당가라 토스무사 수고 토로 제우디 듣고라다 간다.
주주이나 di shengi chedu, right?
다 주주된 가서
랑셴이가
랑신이가 우리에서 kuma ko dire to
ngawade di rangi chedu
랑
jibo.
코니 치더도
So, how's it regarding the fifth and also sixth? The difference between fifth and 16 is fifth is just for oneself. Fifth is just for oneself, and stealing the property of the three jewels, then is for the sake of oneself. And 16, then taking the property of the three jewels, it can be oneself or for another person. Any data, because the 자동 주투디 물론기 꼴라 대대와 요마로 하실라.
근데 주주된 가서 또 발렌지아 또는 리체데 기시도 지다베 신다 지고
고마고니 any different
리체데
Yeah, so regarding is related to loan or not, then the person who steal the the money offered to the three jewels and then loan it to the person who broke the vows, then it becomes related. Yeah, this is how it is related. Sorry.
나지 온다 가셔도 들려고 나지 온다라 가시기에 소송 얘기 체도 고마 그 면도도 지금 미셔다게 체도 국가에 대해서 포기 체도 인도도 지금 가서 가셔 들려고 디 미신다게 체도 꾸나 간다 고마 구구를 왔지다 그래서 소속이 체도 꾸나 대고 구장을 와 가시기에 저는 잘라도 고마 구제스는 이 체도 미신다 국가에 시고 대해서 포기 체도 있어 고마 구 있어 데 가셔도보다 뒤 제거된 이유가 간다 다른 권위체도 고바이나 군조수 고바이나 고바레스 제 권위체도 고바이나 고바레스 간다 와 고바레 되나 미우코 가가셔 살다 누노 가가셔 간다
Yeah, so sometimes there are several vows and they seem similar. However, their intentions or like their motivations, the intention is slightly different, or the person who is intended for then is different. Like for example, one is stealing something for oneself, then another vow can be stealing for another person. Yeah, another person is in deep trouble, then a person steal it for another person's. So sometimes two vows might seem very similar. However, they are different in terms of the intentions and the person those things are intended for.
I was thinking in terms of stealing. I think when we were doing this 10 non-virtuous action, we define stealing. It's a stealing even if you get somebody to steal for you or you steal yourself, right? But both are stealing. I mean, there's no differentiation that would come in the classification of stealing, isn't it? So why would it be like a different vows if that is that differentiation factor? That one is because the term steal itself, I can steal myself or I can get somebody to steal. I mean, that is according to that I think definition when we were talking about a non-virtuous action under stealing, right? So here, number 5 would be stealing. Whether you steal yourself, or at least that's my understanding, whether you steal yourself or you get somebody to steal for you, but that is still under stealing, which is under number 5. But here, number 16, we talk about accepting gifts cease from the triple germ. That is in our 6-session Guru Yoga. But here, so number 16, is it accepting gift cease from the triple germs, or is it taking the property from the triple germ?
Accepting what?
Accepting gifts cease from the triple germ. According to the 6-session Guru Yoga translation per FPMT, I believe that's the word they use, no? Where you got your...
I also got this from FPMT 6-session.
And it says stealing the property of the three jewels. I don't know, I'll put it to the crowd. but I always thought it was accepting gifts. So that's why the confusion come about. I don't know about this loan, and because loan seems like you will return, right? But this downfall, you're not going to ever return, right? It's yours. You would have said it is yours. Huh? So that's where the confusion. I don't know. Do people have different 6-session than I have? Mine could be outdated. But anyway, that's the confusion. I'm not very clear on what is the difference.
Nah, so kan sini kisah lang, so dia mikir cu nang lola, mikir cu nang lola ini dia aku majima lemba dia orang, majima lemba ini yang di susu dia di kumaku yang na ini di siang dia kuma cu tahu ini dia di majima lemba dia yang cuy orang, ini di kai yang kesan di ngasuh di kesan cangseng di tempat di sini kalau yang ni di yawa cewek dia. tempat ni dia orang, ini cik di susu di coba thang, ini sinda cik na di kunci di ko lemba tahu ini yang kasa mi sinda di cedu yang na di cedu tahu ini yang di kali cina misi yang jadung ni di yewa yang nas.
Dah iya dengan tu kuno bicara beri doa. Dia tambu tu kan dah orang koni tiada lalu doa. Orang koni tiada kan dah kunci ko coba ina. Orang ke coba dah tak kan dah iya lah coba ni ko susu tiada ceda leci bayi nak kan dah susu lah kunci ko coba jadung di cekuri hese bor.
Kunlong yang cina di susu di cedu, sinda cina di siang di cedu tahu.
Dah kuno bicara beri doa. Tanda ngah tu zawasi masih balik sewa tu, soalnya ngah tu zirin thang le cecung cecung mampu ya. Soalnya ngah tu pe cecung dah mula mampu ya, ngah tu cina masih balik mata jadi zawasi masih balik dulu ya. Cuma kuat zawasi dulu dulu ya. Cina ngah tu pe cina ngah tu zirin thang cangwa dah,就是cecung dah mula, lumba susu lah, jalan masing kita cecung kat, tapi cepat mampu ya.
Lumba rangi,
jalan tu ni ya. Jala jiba yiba ina ya lumba khashina kuna majiba lemba mogi bajin khashina kuna majiba lemba yeba zi ringtang chechu ge ringtang ge chechi yor suwa tanda de zi ringtang chechi ge jagi shiwon do zi ringtang ge chechi ge jagi shiwon
so ngaba de ni di susu ge chedu ro isla ju tu ina di hian ge chedu ro
da ye ge jo ba chiba che de ge chedu ba da zi kuma ko wa
ju tu din yang susu ge chedu yo na
yo da su ju tu de da da pa kuma ko ne ko ge jo chiba che jo de ba ple che che 이 체도 들으실 거네. 내가 안다데 랭케다 공기 신게다 인가라 다 진짜 상식도 많이 나서 집으로 해서 정도.
Yeah, so how say the motivations is different. Like for example, number 5 is for oneself, and then I rephrase. Number 16 is for others, not for oneself and others. 16 is for others. Number 5 is for oneself. So number 16, I say one steal the money offered to the three jewels and give it and loan it to someone else, or give it to someone else so that the person can pay the fine or can pay the loan, for example. So if so in terms of motivations, then is differentiated is divided into 2 different vows. So and in general, when we talk about stealing, so stealing. Not all kinds of stealings will become when we talk about stealing, there are many things to consider whether it will become a stealing or not. So it also depends on the value of the things one steal. So the value of one thing so the value of the thing is to be considered in the actions of stealing. However, in this context, number 5 and number 16, the value of the thing is not discussed. It's not discussed. It is not part of the consideration. Ini kapti kasi Changdong ni na de teshi yo maro. Yeah, like for example, if a person steal salt, steal 1 kg of salt in a country where salt is very normal, where the country they produce a lot of salt, so has a lot of salt. Then if a person steals salt in a country where it has many salt, then the stealing salt in that particular country will not constitute an action of stealing. However, if in another place, if a person steals a kilo of salt in a country or in a place where salt is very scarce, then it will constitute an action of stealing. So, however, in this context, value of the thing is not is not part of the consideration.
Sorry, one last question, which is that so the person who incur number 16, the downfall, is the person who steals for somebody else or the person who accepts? That means, okay, you have A who steal and give to B. So who is incurring the downfall in number 16, B or A?
Yang penasihat mi tambo mi A yo bache, ini tam mi B yo bache ro aja mi tambo de ini konjugi ko di kasa di kuma ro aja ini di mi ni bala di bare, ini su kasa su zadong jutu de di kasa di chegi ore.
That the channel did she don't teach a mantra in the room. She don't teach a mantra. That dang miss one the case she in ba. The mini one the she don't chin together. That answer that mina answer didn't do it. The Sula Konda Wachila, Koni Chinke Jobaina, Roa, Koni Chinke Jona, that the Sula Konano Jalada would get Roa. That cook Goji Leji, but the Levena. Chinope didn't come to stack on that. What the Tio Galachana de Marchano and Lega no to Cheshas. Lega no to Shibuchas in it. That called Cheva Gen Pomoja Koral Cheva of Jevaina. That cook Cheva de Patria Che the Krogi, Kunjola Pisa Krogo Kumakune. Depa Deach. The Niji Minila at some time Digi Shemdoa. Digi Shem. That cook Kunjola Pisa the Kune Kumakune Krogo Lampa Deachit. Chebak change play your wa. Depa Deachit. The Deachit of Kunjola Pisa the Krogo. Depa planter. That the planter by now. The Koran that we chances to buy the quality of Jimmy has
the youngest one, I think, I think, Como Gatamba the
that Chevaje, Umagatamba Chevaje, that Koran and that Palantia Mevaji, the Kujola Pia, Peshat Mokumakune, the cook
so
Kumakune, the Palantia. That Palantia by Nakoran Statu, you are not Statu Chen, yes,
Zadongawa and Zadong Jutu.
Did you do what? This so sort of patience don't buy it at the channel, is it? And this is that for me, neither no jazz, I think. That Kona, that the Yin Kuma the Mission Jaiba, that you must shiva. That another Koni that she does Lega dig Sula digging that was it Lega Genetic channel no to Cheshas and Kola Chevachi. The Koba Chevachi, Komoja, the Chevachi, the Takoran, Chevachi, Plenty, Patriarch, the Tokujola Pijan, Zemaku, did the Chevapate. That Chevapate Baina, that Chevatesa, the Chevatesa Dilla, chances to buy the Dilla to the Chevaries. 그 레게디 다 소소다 자도 제무로 와 다 땡아서 미니 원데 계시 시다 제도 되와 다 미소만데 계시 샤바이나 다 콜라 제바 하고 다 콜라 플레트야 메바 하고디 다 미신다 지게 포그 플레트야 제다 코라기 운전 비자지 고마지고 미신다 지게 미소마티 디고마 보내다 코라 미드 도보이나 코라 도보디 바 플레 트야 제다 고마 코네 콜 파티네 데 도보디야 코라 하고 바지로와 코라 플레트야 제다 고마 고마지 데 하고 바지 고와 테바이나 다 공기데 코나 데다 다 파트에사 지요라고 플랜트에 유라 슬리기 코로나니가 도바이나 조지 도바니가 좀 제브레스고 대중음아 디디나 쉬이바 다 신다 카시기 단다 우드셔바지 미니 지로 수수수수나 플랜트에 수수 먹고네 파트에치 어디지 쉬고
Tanda ngaba di zadu ngaba di ini di susu ki che tu ini di kuma kuwa ina ini di zadu ngaba ro.
ngaba ke ju shigme
zadu ju tu ina shingi che tu ro ila. Shingi che tu ka bo ina di mini yo ba che ini di yang kasa cheba tangin ta ini di yang cheba kasa rap jung ba pena cha cha di rap nongchu shongyen di. Ini di nongchu shongyen di yang bulun di ya me ba ini di kuma ku ne di cheba tangin la di.
nongchu shoyo ma dese ko
nongchu shoyo ma.
nongchu shoyo mena ko wami chene ka cheba shi. Nike shi shi chena. 다 nongchu shoyo ba ina chena jiba inye jigo.
Kanda ini di nongchu di shoyo ne ini di yang bulun kasa ngu di yang di cheba tangin la di pati wa ina ini rap jung di nongchu shongyen di 자동 주투데
동반의 자동 주투 진거리에
자동 주투데 기레 아니 대양 가서 체바 당년데 양 자동 주투데 양 랭기로 양 정종기로 자동 주투데 동마 요와이나 양 자동 주투데 기레 아니 대양 미숨바 다보이나 아니 디 체바 당년다 아니 디 꾸마 꾸년다 아니 디 랍종 디 가서 농주 쇼년나 디 니가 대양 하고네 아니 대양 건축이 고레샤스 아니 대양 하고네 아니 안데 랭기요나 하고 바 랭기요나 디 숨보
숨보스나 신다 고 밑에가 딱 고치네지 고 체바 지내지라고 되면 체바 지내지 다 제마 니바다 숨바니 고 랭기 코로나 때 그래 떼기 코로나 때 그래 해서
미니 체바 당년데 양
체바 제가 그렇게 시고
체바 당년나 디 가서 딩유 디 건축이 고 꾸마 꾸교레
하고네 제가 지게 프랑스 딱 계시면 돼요.
맞아. 아니 그 가나 니바디.
문 니바도 선바 되니까 딱 좀 지금 해서. 제가 지게 프랑스 계시면 해봐시.
맞아. 양 계시면 해봐.
프랑스 계시고.
맞아. ini mini na di cheba tangin di yang zadong di gigi ro isla zadong tang kaza di cheba tangin yang di legi ro ini ni mi sumbo da bo ina di cheba tangin di yang ki jama yo ma na so ini di yang chama kaza mi ni yang na di kaza di zadong ju ro isla yeah, so taking the property of the three jewels like for example there are different situations one situation is there involve two person, another situation involve three person. So I talk about the situation scenario A first. So A, there is a disciplinarian, for example, or manager. So find a person who do some mistake, then fine him 100 ringgit. So the person who make mistake doesn't have money to pay to give it to the manager, then the person who made mistake steal the money offered to the three jewels and then and give it to the manager. And the kaza mini de and the cheba tangi yang the hago nero. Yeah, so then and then the manager know that money is the money offered to the three jewels, and yet the manager took it. Then two of them, if they have bodhisattva vows, then they break 16 root vow. And another scenario is involve three person. Again, then there is a manager. Manager in the monastery. So the manager, and then another a person who made mistake, and another person is the person who made mistake. Friend of that person,
friend of a person who made mistake. So the manager find the monk who made mistake, and then the monk doesn't have money to pay back, and his friend knows about it. Then his friend steal the money offered to the 3 jewels and give it to his friend, the person who made mistake, and give it back and pay back to the manager. So in this scenario, the person who steal the money, the friend who steal the money from the 3 jewels, and the person who use it to pay back, the person who made mistake and use it to pay back to the manager. So both of them also break vow number 16.
我的这当了第7番都是呀，这当第怎么的，还是你来讲的这当，那都是没送了讲的这当，就等到的工作也过的嘛，不嘛过的过本来这些的过了吧，这些呢，都那么些外的地里来下，介绍的，是吧？但他们个别7番期间看，当不得了呗，嘛说我的7番话，我的那个农地界面呢，或农地界家是他边部那个几个呗，边部那个几过了7番期呢。 边部那个几过了7番期，就农地界嘛，农地界家都是7番过么加7番呢，在边部的，大家记得，他过边农地界嘛，在呢，他过了过么过呢，都过么过呢，都把7番拍的。
第一季民记讲的，可是全没把的的。
没把我买了枪上了嘛，是吧？我的，
因为第样，
我的家的我是给对面的家工都是拿去买家的是吧？但等的进来看到等到是几番的是个。
Yeah, so and in some scenario. How say the person didn't make any mistake, but the manager, falsely accused the person, saying that you have made some mistake, and then fine the person. Then the person did not make any mistake, have to pay back, have to pay the fine, right? Then he steal the money offered to the 3 jewels. So there are many situations that can come, taking the property of the 3 jewels.
但这个是居住小的话是本来这样去的来下多的我的什么哪点，但是俺这都俺不有啊，这让可能等到对吧？让可能比起单的力气什么的，但到的别刚刚真的把本来这样去的不嘛会，对。
然后必须单呀单，你的居住那点评论单7把单呀，
7把单力气的这样去，力气的不嘛会啊，那多钱的的。
That's so. Yeah, so in brief. Root vow number 5 is selling the property of the 3 jewels for oneself. So for his own, for the person to use the money for himself, selling the property of the 3 jewels for himself. This is number 5. And number 16, taking the property of the 3 jewels is, in brief, is to pay back that loan or fine. So this is the difference between root vow number 5 and number 16.
Okay, thanks.
So,你这写出来了？
你这写的的。那主要嘛咯。
That's all right. Do you have any other questions regarding root vow?
Yeah, if you
have any questions, then you can ask now regarding 18 root vows.
Geshe-la, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
I understand that if someone goes into a gompa with the motivation that this particular bowl will look better in another room, in another altar. So this person moves this item from one altar to another. Would it be classified as stealing? Because people working in the Buddhist center don't know that this thing has been moved. Is that a form of stealing? How would you categorize that?
So kisalayan michi yang di changsen yu tongba yu ba, ani yang kazagan gomba jila drone, kaza gomba jila drone, ani yang so di kaza di kaza chui po de, so di chap di pigi oro, chap ye poverty ni dingin jibo yore ni di sacha de la shawa ni dingin jibo sida yo mari ni sacha shinda jila koma nang lo la ni yang kangba shinda jila ni yang koma nang lo la kanda ni koma nang lo la sacha tangbo dang sacha ni ba ni di sacha tangbo la shawa ni dingin jibo sida yo mari ini yang chokshe ma shu ba ini sacha ni ba la di wo ba di po ba di sha ba ini yang kaza di chokshe ma shu ba ni di sacha shinda jila shawa ina ini domba di jung kaza di zadong di junggi re
그 군바랑 그 베지타오라 수수 체드 그 말와
수수 이제 뭐라
수수 고마고야 말아 디 군바랑 그 체드 군바랑 그 체드나 거라 나로 내가 지내던 투바 마시나 던지디 거랬고
이네 디 가자 디 자동 디 기를
이렇게 저 지금 와서도 마시 자동데 그데 고마고야 말아 되다 되다 자동들랑 가서 간다
자동 쪽기 나로라 다 니지协助找보이나 디 양 기를
이렇게 말아 내가 가서 그러니까 다 수수 그때 밀라 내가 지내고 매니저라고 가리나 원차스를 여봐이나 코로나 때 끼쳐 써원이네 마지바 뜻소속에 내가 들이 레자디나 코로나 쪽으로 와이나 땡게 콜아요나 뜻소속에 뜻이 내가 사고를 와 이제 내가 사고를 때 야 들리고 동바든 가대 들리지 이거 말이야
장동 미세다 나 요마라 yeah so yeah if a person how say who go to a gompa and without asking the permissions from the person, how say, like, for example, the manager in a compa, then without asking the permissions from the manager, and then move one thing to another place, then if the manager gets angry, then the person who move one thing from one place to another, then that person will accumulate negativities. However, how say whether the person will if the person has any bodhisattva vows, then the person will not break any of the bodhisattva vows by moving one thing from one place to another without asking permissions. Yeah. So even though the person who moved one thing from one place to another, is out of good intentions. So, however, that person has no right to move one thing from one place to another. If the person who moved the thing from one place to another has the right to do so, then it's fine. There's no negativities incurred.
Thank you.
Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Caroline here. How about people who wrongfully accuse you of stealing fruits from the altar? You know, a person doesn't have to be a Buddhist to know it is wrong.
Yeah. So, miji kasan choshom la de shinto de shaje. Any yang miji lenwai na. Any mi lena de ne di kuma marwa. Any yang choshem pena chashana de choshin yowai na. Any yang choshom gang ye shinto dabo ne ji lenwai na choshin yowai na. Any de shinto de lenwai na de kuma kuya marwa ida.
그 말이야 수수야 수수 비례 수수로 와.
이네 수수 푸와이나 양디 신나 푸와이나 간다니 대양 렌야기 초신디 라와이나 근데 데 렌제 미신다 지 통네 근데 대양 강구마 구바레스 이니디 가장 자동다 보이나
대소소 번데 시작 그랬고 대소소 번데 시작 알페 뭐체 좀 그런 날들 내가 손선데 시제는 좀 지고 그랬어 대소소 네바 지금 말해서 번데 시작에 계셔 그랬어
이니 디 가장디 구마궁에 디 생에디 그냥 구마구바레스 아니 디 생에디 양 자동디 기기를 자동 예제라고 도마 기기를
근데 돈바 지금 말해서 손데 시작 그랬어 네시 제가 내가 이거 다 한다 수수 근데 시 맞지 봐이다
네네
수수 번데 시작 네 수수 근데 시 받게는 그 원차 연주 코로나 날 두스네 라서 무스 또 코로나 원차 요리에서 너무 트레스 무스 어디 두스 번데 시작 그랬는데 시 맞지나 뜻이냐 봐 참.
yang
可是俺的捐助人的让业界找不人家的扎中找不人家的给下有嘛哇，让那的地吧，that's all. Yeah. So if one is falsely accused of stealing fruit from the altar, then you have to explain to the person saying that, oh, I got the permissions to take the fruit from the altar already. So you have to explain yourself to the person. So if you do not explain yourself to a person, there is a danger of breaking the secondary vows, bodhisattva secondary vow. One of it is avoiding not avoiding bad reputations.
Any question?
Geshe-la, yes, I have a question regarding root valve number 10, destroying town and so forth. In this age of environmental consciousness, if a mining company is wanting to open a mine, and you yourself as an investor, knowing that it will be bad for the environment down in the future. So if you were to invest in that company and gain the profit, so would that be equivalent to destroying the town and so forth down the track?
So, 자동 주바 되어라 있을라. 아니 총당 총소 지지바 되어라. 총소 지바 되 아니면 그냥 차셔나양 레공 카시 되는 요라. 아니 안디 그자 디 리낭로 라양디 그자 디 그자 자자고 저거 그자 주 저거 있는데 주 자친구 되는 요라 지 낭로라. 니 주 디 니 데 레야라. 아니 대양 제야라. 아니 데 지디多了. ini di tongin di main ba ini yang changsim gi tongba yongeng gi ji gi ini yang di kaza legong di la maza di shawai na ini yang di jila yang kipsang di rawai na zadong juba di gi yo na
ka denga zu zhongsun ji rit poswa de wa zu rin no dang zu se de wo ji da za chen de chen dong de wa da zu su su ge le ga su su la wang chai也具有把是说了往前有吧，不弄年吧满意吧，等的
一定是找不能生计啊猛不有
对，叔叔个别看到现在的叔叔别离的叔叔个两个的银巴钱，他叔叔个两个银巴钱，他叔叔个现在我就是别叔叔个他从来觉得你过半到年巴的有的就那，我说这顿就是300年吧，或你没把收入都是比现在那个钱3万的利率的，现在那些的，现在把那些的300年把的利润给这个可没把谁呀的，人家到没把谁，根本没把谁的，你这人嘛都，我把经济网给你到了，我这种解释给你写过嘛是，就是我把经济网给，我把经济网给别人到把他看把几把的，这些这种结果嘛的，我说看把你把全部结把一样，看把的嘛刚做的嘛漏的，我把经济看把300几钱的你呢，你这种解释给些嘛的，但看把你把的别。钱没钱到给呢，或者被300拿不进来，恐怕都没把收入那啥西北呢，这都是结果的事。但恐怕你把这边这所见接起来的，我把这这个这300件工作上，把西北呢，这都给结果嘛的事。这我把就是弄这什么大回事？
你谈到你的可是几多啊？到位那这样几把几个人那个是吧？
我把就是我300年把往到把人的结果的什么都这都的。弄的就要根据他们的生活。
那种越可是去上来给切除到位那点那个给切除到位那。
当然那个那的也就是你是哪个吧？
因为让자동 주바的
那个是什么嘛
？Yeah, so in general, when we talk about root, breaking root vows, then they are in the context of having a bad motivations. Then you do something, then you break the root vows. So, like for example, number 10, destroying towns and so forth. If a person with a bad intentions, then I want to harm the sentient beings in that on that mountain or anything, or in the town or something, then with these bad motivations of harming others, then you destroy town, you destroy places. Then that person, if he has bodhisattva vows, then he will incur. Then he will break
number 10 root vows. So if a person who if a person who has bodhisattva vows, but it's his job to open the mind, or for business, doing a business of mining or etc. So for there is a purpose and there is a reason to do so, then without there is no involvement of bad intentions in the second scenario. Then if the person if that person open the mind, then it will not break number 10 root vow.
Jumba China pe Kamba Ganga Malune, Kamba Ganga machine, Kota Chiparan's chair, Kamba Yasaba Jena, Maluya till never Sagamara, Giva Sagopi, Nima Chopo Saya Joe, Yasaba Jodi, Kamba Sama Tobaina, Pola Shansi Domer Sadu Jigmaris, Kopijero Pacha Yasaba Jachet. What indicates she was a Kamba Ganga sheep, but a Rikanga Toba Chansa and Sadu Jisima, Stambang Emu. No, much.
Yeah. So not all kinds of destroying towns, etc., will become will break number 10 root vows, because, like for example, if a person a person is very rich, then he tear down all the houses in one town. Then in order to help those persons who are they are very poor, they are unable to build a proper house. So then a rich person come and then tear down all their houses, the old houses, and then to build a new one for those poor people. Then in this case, the person do not have any bad motivations. Then that person, if he has bodhisattva vows, then he will not, even though he so-called destroy or tear down houses, then he will not break the root vow number 10.
Kuno members, they still some as well. So, Jawa country, Kuno, Chiba Shuju, and the Lega Karina. Kuno, the case is Chawa.
So, whatever activities that we engage in, motivation is most important.
Kuno, Yapuji in a Lega country in a patch, Dibal no massive. Kuno, Stambu to Nepe, a Lega country with Chiba in a patch, Dibal no massive.
So whatever things we do, if we do it with a good motivations, then in most cases, it will not become a negativity.
Gisela, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, can hear you.
Can I ask Gisela? I was wondering where these Bodhisattva vows originated from. From what I understand, that some of them started from Changagumin, Achara Changagumin, and the others are all by Shantideva, and a few are taken from the sutras. So who composed them and why is it necessary? And I noticed that most of, quite a bit of them are actually applicable during those times to monastics. For example, like the 16th vow, actually more on the people with authority who impose fines on the monks who have no resources to pay, and they take it from the monastery. So a lot of things are not quite applicable in our days now. And my question also, where does it come from and who compiled them, and why are they not revised to suit modern? Because the Holiness of Dharma says a lot of things are outdated and we need to follow them. So this is my concern. Actually, I've been reading through these Bodhisattva vows by what do you call it? By Samay Khyentse Rinpoche, as well as Dakpo Rinpoche. So they get quite extensive explanation. But I noticed that most of them refer to monastics and at those times. So some of them are really not applicable today. And since they are actually compiled from Chandragomin, Shantideva, and sutras, so who actually brought this thinking and commit us to do these 18 vows after we take the Bodhisattva initiation? So a bit quite So do you get what I mean? Can you explain, Gisela, where it originates from, and the emphasis was mainly for monastics and at the time of the at the period of time. So today they don't seem to be very. I mean, some of them are not actually suitable at all. You know. So this is my concern.
Yeah.其实来呢啲强生嘅动物啲有咯，唐坡条唐坡啲，呢啲看呢啲中国嘅，看呢中国嘅，条唐坡啲，强生嘅动物啲看呢中国嘅，呢啲条呢把啲属于啲地巴坡属于啥？强生嘅动物，地巴坡啲有咯，哦，嗰啥？对巴坡讲的，对巴坡啲有咯，强生嘅动物啲对巴坡啲属于啥？ ini jiwa sumba de ini de mang chewa changsen dongba de mang chewa yang kasa rap jung dang jiwa yo ba rap du jung wa na ini di dang ini di kasa di za dong de bena cha chana za dong di ini ge ya yin yin ga yo re ini yang kashi ge yang tu chun yin ba ge de ge cha ro yi la ni ma nga ma ge ge cha re ini di den sang da bo na ini di yang ja ma ro wa nang xin de cha yo re ini yang 대화 담보대 아니 장생이 동바대 강리 중발에 아니 디 강리 중발에 양디 가장 카시 잔자 고미다 아니 카시양 시와하다 아니 양 카시양 도레 덴데디 뒤와르 왜 계실라 장생이 동바대 가자 안디
당연히 대중만 이와는 어차피 유진 장비하다 시와라 지관의 많이 용단지다 다 간다 자와 상반이 많이 용단지 시오로와 그래서 전주 명아 되게 장주기 동바의 상지 나래도 어디서 많이 온다는 가서 다 제시 시와라 지진 장비하는 제시 시와라 무슨 것을 다긴 난지기 세제랑 또 말해와 어디니가 레버리 된 줄만 레버 된다 요새 막 도도도 가서 상지 때문에 존재 들어와 때문에 존재 들어와 레버 지 동바 맞지고와 상지를 다 간다 상지 존재 그 된디 다시 야마다던 그 상지 주가 돌려와 뭐 대마지고 대마 가서 간다 지당시에 아주 장주기 세 정다들은 가서 진짜 명아 지도로 장아치다 근데 장주기 세에 된 가서 장수지 동바에 들려요 된다도 들려요
그래서 에디 가자 가자 디 장생이 동바 디 균 자워이나 디 균데 에디 템바라 템바네로
템바라
마키고리
가서 템바에서 템바
에디 디 종사데 에디
가서 준다고 가서 막 지진 장비에는 제시 좀 쉬어라는 말 지나치다 당어서 나지 용다 조지 빠디아디 샤네마 간다 요즘도 제네마 야와 샴바고는 마도스 지단 유야지 들지 시고래 다 간다 제시 좀 쉬어라는 말 지단지 다기나지도 마 지단시 레고 이게 맞아 조지 빠디아디 샤네 진짜 뭔가 딩고는 말로 장다 그래서 시고 당마 좀 주우도 좀 근데 주사 부도도라고 jambiya ne ma jinyo sama jambiya ne jambiya ne mi kanda sanji janja res kandarwa ma jinyo odire ma yusana ba zawa da chugo kana to ba naji chu ngo da ma kana to dire se lumba ne ma chu chen bu de gudna chu de ngo da kana to dire se lo
godi tuya de temaro ya
zanga su tusa te temba res ada sanji res wa
그래서 애니 대한 되바보 양 수이 나이
diba ba se ne kan yo
그래서 애니 장심이 동바디 수 되어래서
diba res ne 다 디바본 가서 또 디바본데 키시원나 가리래요.
또 디키샤 말이야. 네 장심기 동바디 양수 뒤가래서. 아니 가자디 가자 자동디 디디 가자디 양 잔자 고미네 아니 디샹디 대와네 아니 안디 도 카시네 아니 양 뒤바래.
또 고밤마테네 다 시오 한다. 도시 고밤마 잔자 되는 시오 그랬어. 아, 다 디바본서 가는 데니 좋아 거다 지지 뭐 하면서.
장심이 동바
다시 한번 더 말해서 뭐 인다 데레스.
용당 디로야. 그래서 애니양 그래서 애니 숨바데 애니 참마디양 그래서 랍두 중화이나 애니 디양 게야 인인가 요바 잡어래 이제나. 나서 미페바 잡어이나 애니 디양 가서 양 미스기 제와 매바 낭신 디차.
샤기오레스. 좀바 마시나데 你别把一个东北马现在上次在东地去了接给呢，
强生东北的修年点做，
训练的结果了嘛，马现在那个在东的接给嘛，
强生东北的修年打不赢那样的扎东让打不赢那，样个啥的入到中啊。รับดูจงไว้นะนี่ที่ยังก็เดี๋ยวเชื่ออยู่เลยสักจงละ
แล้วจงมาสมังเชื่อกี่ชั้นสิดูบอลเล่นเดี๋ยวสิบ้างชั้นสิดูบอลมาเล่นจีบยอมมาสิพัชราดูชงมังเชื่อรู้ว่าดิสุจังอ่ะเดี๋ยวเชื่อสิแต่ชงเลย
ยังมีสิ่งนะมีเพศบ้างเดี๋ยวไม่มานั่งสิงเรื่องสักจัดตรงข้าศึกเดี๋ยวตรงว่าข้าศึก
ชั้นสิดูบอลชงมาเล่นจีบสุดชั้นสิดูบอลจัดตุ้งเชื่อกี่ยอมมาสิบ้างรู้ว่าตอนนี้มาเล่นจีบสุดแต่เราอยู่สิว่าเราสมังเชื่อกี่ชั้นสิดูบอลเล่นชั้นจงเลยสิว่า
อีนี่ที่扎东因那样的演技因那样，你的唱嘛的看配吧因那样，配吧因那rap中因那的几把几干了是吧？因为rap中变那恰恰那扎东找不因那的开始，你的个啥 miss 一趟 rap 中趟就我笑啊有的是，变那恰恰公办当落了那个钱找不因那的关注给过连吧找不因那，你的 rap 中啦，你这样给。给人家切我有的话是了，你没办法找不回那的。
对，人家说要忙呀，吧，东北忙呀，在清白一呢，那是东北人呀。
强生给东北人写给我。
对，强生给东北人大家来说，人家会强生给东北，就在东北接吧一那样，人家东北现在忙不起那个，我你把人家个你把几十呢，你把几千，清白个你把几十呢，穷呀，这是个。
可能佢條話呢啲扎東其實長線嘅東北嘅我，人扎東做嘅人嘢就寫咗咯。因為等咗入中啦，同條話超話咗咧。因為入中人啦，因為其實扎東人啦嘢就寫咗幾下嘅人家，幾嘅人家要，幾嘅人家超話咗咧。未譬如話差不多啦，因為啲長線嘅東北堂，因為長線嘅東北堂幾嘅人家衝下咗咧，扎東做嘅堂嘢就寫咗晒嘅，就是啦。yang
但这个米送的个呀是真的些嘛些了。这个热用过，因为你上次东北的时候呗，我有那这个呗，刚才也不朗读的时候也不接来的，也不写的进吧呢，那个穷啊用的钱用嘛的，这都用钱嘛的，这都没用啊，但都压呀是。这清白人那家伙的，那个清白人那刚刚几把嘛那个，上次也这都是松下是新把的，我那是可能送个是哈高吧那些哪里单给是了起来重要嘛的是，但哪里嘛大部分给是了忙不用过的是个，这个是地了多，这个是中年没是清白的，你给下给你买的是个，清白的来就给下给你买的，我说哪里清白的开始学的了，没些把东岸经过是，没些把东岸经过。这个年米马西巴伊那年米平日的年米马西巴伊那个呢，差不多那是中国的对吧？年米西巴托的，这哪里打败呢？这是在中国嘛？这是说个切巴的是个，没是这热用了，这当我说热用了双样嘛，这讲的热用了，年巴的意思，嘛不可以那边年巴送过来加钱不也送到年巴中下也就是吧？
因就係話點其實扎東做嘅堂你是寫咗啲，人開始你原因吧啦，你啲加入啊，你啲談得那so yeah. So regarding your questions, then how say where it originated from, Bodhisattva vows, where it originated from, then I say we can trace it all back to Buddha Shakyamuni, and then it is transmitted through two lineages. Then one is through Manjushri, another one is through Maitreya, then down to Shantideva and Lama Atisha, and then this is how those his instructions on Bodhicitta instructions come from, 7 cause and effect, and also equalizing and exchanging oneself with others. So basically, Bodhisattva vows is originated, or I say is transmitted down from Buddha Shakyamuni. And now from Buddha Shakyamuni, and then so whether it is related to a monastic, or whether is more related to monastic, then it depends on whether the person who knows who has taken Bodhisattva vows knows the vows or not. If a person, so it is not regardless of whether you are regardless if you are a ordained person or you are a lay person, then if you if you know these vows and then you guard yourself against those transgressions, then then there is then then
这清白的人现在是
Yeah.
个当多的是也不辛苦呢，这了
yeah,
这了牛角个也是，晓得的，
yeah.
也不辛苦的是了牛角个，没辛苦的是都马牛的是。
Yeah, so regardless whether you are an ordained person or a lay person, so there is no difference. If the person knows what is the vow to keep, then the person and keep those vows, then you will not break. Then the person will not break those vows, and there is so it is not related to it is not it is not related to monastic because it is not related to that, whether you are a lay person or whether you are an ordained person. If you know those vows and you keep those vows, then there is no breach of these vows. So if you do not know these vows, then there is a great danger that you will break these vows. So in Lamrim it says that not knowing is the door to transgressions. So whether if you do not know about these vows, then you are in great danger to break these vows.
我是东岸军国的哪里的习俗是吧？没去把东岸军国，年木没把年木忙也东岸军国是，
年木忙为
我年木忙也东岸军国，是吧？八面王的，八面被东岸军国是，是吧？过西有了，没去把八面把年木忙，记得着。 我东岸军国西有了，还记得真不记得不得？俺们的看他没去被东岸军国，是吧？宁木忙也东岸军国，八面被往给东岸军国，记得什么堂？这嘛往上个，对了是吧？这送上俺说的，这清白的就给下不多是的，这俺说没去东岸军国是这里什么的，西朗都西马西边的，这了东岸的国，吃不饱累个的，但是了宁木忙呢，这吃不饱累个的，这八面往给东岸军国，就可能。
So in Lamrim it says that there are 4 doors to transgression. One is not knowing, and then the second one is many afflictions, and the third one is careless or non-conscientiousness, and last one I don't really remember. Yeah, so I'm not sure you remember or not. The 4 doors to transgressions. So not knowing. Many afflictions and carelessness. Then another one I don't remember already. So then in this, when we say that these are the 4 doors to transgressions, right? So whether you are ordained persons or whether it's monastic related or not, then it's not discussed, right? It's not part of the considerations. So whether you know the objects of abandonment and adoptions or not is the key factor is the key factor. So whether a person, will break these vows or not, more related to these vows. So it's the key factor, to the breach of those vows.
Lack of respect.
So when you take the daily vows, we renew our Bodhisattva vows on a daily basis. So long as we have not sort of transgressed the 4 conditions, and also we have not really broken the meaning of understanding of emptiness and the Bodhisattva, Bodhicitta itself, then that will also sort of protect us from transgressing these vows. Because on a daily basis, we have to retake the vows, do it 3 times on our own in front of the altar, just like doing the 6-session Guru Yoga. That time is the best time to do it, and also renewing the tantric vows and everything else on a daily basis, so that will give us some kind of comfort, isn't it?
Ini maksud di tawa di tuntu di tenggi orang isla. tuntu di tengi ore ni di tuntu di tengi ka ba ni nang lo la yang tian shu chang sem gi dong ba de yang de ni ma ta ba de leng gi ore wa in ni ma ta ba de leng gi yo na ni yang zo ka sa yang di kun di si de ma chang ba tang kun ke sing ang zo yang di ji ka sa kun ang zo ke si di dong wa de ge wai na ni di kun di si de ma chang ba tang当然，你讲咪是你的자동 조개能落来你的가서 로다 단전이 생도와 되로 그냥 니搞完呢你样kun现在呢样kun的时间嘛唱完呢你가서注意强势于动画的强势于动画的强势于动画的你样가서 한的야부的送给给下的我拉出来了Yeah, that is true. Yeah, so if you take bodhisattva vows every day when you recite 6 session Guru Yoga, accept those 2 vows, which is holding the wrong views and abandoning bodhicitta, accept these 2 vows. Then if others transgressions happen, but the 4 conditions are not present, then when you take bodhisattva vows every day, then your bodhisattva vows is still intact.
这听众大把的些，我说详细动把来的，自动就把呢，详细动把来着呢，咱就过来说。我说自动就要把都要做的动把人家练的话，详细动把自动来这样子，详细动把练的，这对阿修的差过，对的，是吧？这详细动把听众大把的详细动把来的，我说自动就把呢，这大到也不。差不多是个，是吧？
자동 정화이 나.
장식 동반 연자 링고.我是자동的台的做考试，장식 동반 연자 링的。
Yeah. So this is applicable. Even if one break root vow, bodhisattva root vows, then you retake bodhisattva vows is the way to restore those vows.
我的东北叔叔了，我这下动起来了，叔叔怎么还有啊
？Yeah, so there are different method to purify broken vows in relation to different vows. There are different purification methods.
当我说现在被我给这种军法一呢，我说往人家俺学的，人家当军练的时候啊，这都还记得。但详细怎么这都来是人家详细怎么学的，那是人家练的。但是训练的话，但是习惯很多。
Yeah, like for example, for tantric vows, then as they retake the initiations is one of the method to restore the vow.
Geshe-la, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I would like to ask the question further to William's questions. Actually, is this regarding Bodhisattva vows number 10, destroying towns and so forth. So let's say we are trying to clearing the land of the owner for development. So there are a lot of bushes and trees, all these things. So actually we are destroying the habitants of those a lot of creatures or insects or all these things or snakes, whatever. So in the process, we might even kill them. I think mostly will be killed. So in this regard, so even though we did not break the Bodhisattva vows, but I think I might be incurring the action of killing of sentient beings. Am I right to say that?
Kislan 당긴 디 윌리엄기 디와 주바 디콜라 디시기어 디 기제 디바로와 총소 디 디바로와 디 단다 디 공기 디와디 이니 페나시시나 저 디 캄바티 개비오로 캄바 개와라 니 디사디 양 장마소로와 양 신도 다보요나 신동 다보요나 니 디양 장마소제 니 디 장마소가 라니 셈진 강요바 사자딜라 강요바데 양 세기로와 인양 세바다 인양 공속에 대사됨 마세 그런 그저 심진된 조양 세기래 인양 심진된 세와이나 인양 자동의 기계래 정생기 동바데 기기요 나면나 인양 지 정생기 동바데 마게와이나 인양 조양의 심진 그저한테 소주의
소주에 레대양 마보사기로.
더 군웅 치바레스고. 맞아 배 캄바스 자마스 시부진의 배 신의 핀바드에 리치되나 당아서 자동도 기지고 말와. 이랬다 신치 소디 제바이나 네바 사그리 네바 사그리나 수수 군호데 배 치우치고 야보 여바이나 예 개치기 군호도 잘되고요. 그와 다 신치 세나세 가르치나 제트네 군호 근데 코바이나 되면은 네바 치고 디스 치고 그와
So, yeah, yeah. So what you say is correct. So even though if a person who do not have bad motivations when to clear the land for development, so like for example, I will kill the sentient beings there, regardless, I will just kill etc. Then if with such bad motivations and clear the land, then that person, if that person has bodhisattva vows, and he will break the bodhisattva vows. So if a person has good motivations, I'll say like for example to develop the place, etc. Then he will not break the bodhisattva vows. So however, since clearing the land for developments and in the process and will kill a lot of sentient beings and also destroy their habitat, then that person will does accumulate negativities.
다 디다 지바레베 소소 체다 컴바이 제고야나 컴바이 제고야나 다 소소 간다 샤바트디 제고레스가 다 간다 소소 깜주는 버세상하게 군호여 말와 깜주는 버소차 세상하게 군호 자원이여 말 다 파치 군호 소 컴바디 제고 다 파치 소차다 세노그레사 소소 근조바 제고와 오다 든디 제고부터네 그래서 간다 소소 샤동 지시가 그가 사서 소소 컴바지나 디 간다 니바다 자고요 간다 가서 슈로 모다 땅들이 있고 다 콜로와라베 무슨 소셜 마부세로 그러와 그 깜주 세세가 든디 군호게 여 말와 내가 이나 내가 제고 이나 소소게 다 무슨 거기서 소소게 든디페 간다 샤동디 제고래 샤동 제바이나 데 간다 소소 마시 병원에 세제 좀 간냐 봐 간다 달하이 다
Yeah, so even when we want to build a house, then it is very important to do confession. It is very important to confess our negativities as well. So because when we build a house, then in the process, then we will kill unintentionally we will kill a lot of unintentionally many sentient beings will be killed. So it is good to regret and also do confessions, so to purify the negativities. So it's just like when we drive a car. So we do not have the intention to kill sentient beings, right? However, when we are driving in the process of driving, then many sentient beings will be killed. Then it's also good to regret it and also to confess such negativities. So those negativities can be easily purified. Can be easily purified if we can be easily purified if we regret it. Then so it is very important not to have those intentions wanting to kill sentient beings, etc. So motivations is a key factor. Is a key factor as to whether one break a bodhisattva vows or not.
Thank you.
Geshe-la, can I just follow up on one question? What about boiling water? When we travel, right, we dare not drink water from the tap directly. So we have to boil the water. And we know there's bacteria in there, So the intention is there, Geshe-la. Can Geshe-la please share your thoughts? Thank you.
Macam mi ma thong badan so ini yang so kasa tong ma po ba ini dia yang de go wai na dia kasa di semjin chu chu de so ini mi ma thong ba di se ge che du ini di chu go ge yo lo che za ini di kap di ini di kasa so di kong long de yo lo semjin se ge kong long de yo lo ini di kare na kap di
ta te sha do ju che bo ne de le da that this year chedo ya so so ja chedre that di ya so so jia chedre and ye ya mi da Meet is so to meet is so to I said that day to that the shadow did chamber. Shadow never saw is wrong. And then was a bit. Chuluji and Chisas, the men, Luji Chu Marisua. Chu Mazumina Chu Chisako, Chu High and Luba and Sajib, Jimmy. Some margin of Budu Reservoir. Two good say good resin, Chisako, that are usually not to see Yorda, Rasha. That design machine or design machine over such as a
anything you was Sagiro Agila, so the
Shabbat Chevrolet never saw. Shabbat Chichi Dwar, then as you saw the Mangazu, so you know, so they got Majin, she got nation, how Malay
Chandongi Chandongi.
And these are the Towers, these towers who come to the that's also kind of swag Lucia Chedwa. The Missing Rangi Samala Soja, the good digger. That day, Rangi Samala Sola, Nega Yuan Suza. That the diggy, Unoji Yore. That could Chamu to the Soda Chinan, as they say, the Chanan draw the pit. Draw the Abushi to
yeah, Kisha say it's a very good question because that is very true and very we all can relate as well. So when we boil water, then with the intentions to kill the bacteria or sentient beings inside, right? So definitely, if one boil water with such intentions, one will accumulate negativities. Therefore, it's very important to regret and to do compassion as well. Yeah, so in old times, and those ordained person they use That
was in the chart, was in the number.
Yeah, so then they will filter the water first, for example, by using a piece of cloth, then to filter whatever sentient beings inside, then only they drink the water. Yeah, so nowadays then they don't really do that because water filter is very convenient already, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's a very tough question. Yeah, because when you boil the water, you kill the sentient beings or the bacteria inside, right? Yeah, it's a very tough question, Gisela.
Thank you, Gisela.
Gisela,
yeah. So whether boiling water with the intentions of killing bacteria in the water. Yeah, so you can trading each other.
Was school of money, I should be curious. Chip Gemma to Malay,
yeah.
That counts on but instead of time reasons for teaching a thing in never GI.
Yeah, so Gisela advice to all of us is when we boil water, even though we know that the water is not clean and we need to boil the water so that when we drink the water, then we will not get diarrhea and everything, right? And etc. So the motivations that instead of having the motivations that I want to kill the bacteria or the sentient beings inside the water. So instead of having these motivations, is rather one should have the motivation is like, I need to boil it so that it will not harm my body, or is for the sake of my physical health and etc. With these motivations, it is better than having the motivations that I want to kill the bacteria inside to make the water drinkable and etc. So otherwise, if we have that motivations want to kill the bacteria inside the water, then think that and after you boil the water, then you think that the bacteria is all killed, then the water is not drinkable, then this will make the negativities heavier.
But 축구지마다 장모마다 조금 나그래서 길라고 나서 뭐는 다 기사 세리 버리 내가 다 하고 어디들에도 이제도 그 무슨 애들도
So like us, how say back in Tibet, then when we go to a mountains and we drink the water from we drink the mountain water, yeah, the river water. Then then when we also boil it and then we say that we need to boil the water because it is cold. So then we do not have the idea that because of the bacteria or the virus inside that make us stomach ache. Then we only think that because the water is cold, so we need to boil the water.
Sheila, one question. Actually, this one I think it goes endless and endless, because when we buy vegetables, we need to wash away everything else, and now we clean them with soap or whatever it is, it's so much of killing anyway.
Yeah, the only the cola the chiwa tang wai na the only the cha yung maro apena cha chena so the chi nyo wai na the chi and the two ro chi two ka la and the chi ma wen say ro the sen chi ma mo say ro
那东南也是这样的，那新干里面、两个里面，俺是啥？到新干里面不熟悉过的时候，因为他别刚做那可能不是要去新干里的，刚做那人不是要去的意思，得经过嘛咯。人那新干给他送出去，也没见得不是过，
是工作人员的刚做那
咯。哦的，那对，所以刚有了，咱俺说下班继续就一样，不弄的，咱老头也会接班那一辈。 他把他汤里不把拖下来，不把东西去，因为偏把家全部都要扩出去的，错还去的，你错的那几辈，是这个新加坡的两个9月3，那古弄了都是7八有多啊，你7八有个人，但刚子那你不是要去的，现在来我嘛了，不行啊。
Yeah, so yeah, that is true because how say the motivation is really the key factor. Even those who like farmers, then how say when they do farming work, then they also kill a lot of sentient beings inside, right? So it's also very important to do the work and also to confess our negativities as well. So if that farmers, if they have the motivations that I want to kill, the bugs in the field, then yeah, then it will make the negativities heavy, right? So if the farmers have the motivation is like, I need to grow my paddy field well so that I can benefit many others. Then if with these motivations, then it's better.
For your info, some years ago, Lama Zopa said whether he was not sure whether bacteria is a sentient. This is for information. Yeah, because I did ask him and nothing could be resolved. That bacteria is or not a sentient, nobody has come up with an answer. Because sentient means you have consciousness. The bacteria, I doubt if they have any consciousness. So Dhammazopa did query that point. Just for info.
Yani tiang lokasi ingat lah yang kisah syah zamri. Yang lokasi ingat lah kisah lama sebelum mencegi ini di sumber ini yang bacteria dan dia ora bacteria virus dan so ini di senjen yimin ini toba yoris kisah lama sebelum mencegi sumber ini kaisna bacteria dan virus dan so ini sem yume ini dia kisah yoran toba yoro. Yang di ini di cunang lo lah yang di bacteria dan ini di ini yang bucung dia yang tidak mampu yoro, langsung mima thong wada. Karena ini di capture lama sebelum menciri, ini bacteria dan so ina di kata semjen ina mina ini di toba yoris.
Boleh. Apa ni?
So,
dari dua canda. Thank you.
Sibuk sibuk so.
다 디셀레 찬다 지티하게 사마르제 다 제는 어떤 내지 다 저도 돈아 야부 되셔서 가서 장주기 넘바 시설에 장주기 떠동다 내지도 돈아 야부 되셔 때 투치는 참아 그러봐 다 문제는 가서 때 돈아 전에 체세 마지 그거 다 가는 가서 장주기 떠동 돈아도 신바지 될라 체세 마지 봐 아니 내지도 레바이다 체세 마지 체도 때문에 가르 있는 이상하다 전에 마지 수선 저거 잡이 돈에 tapi 이수단 가셔 봐야 나서 저번 지시 샤시 지나 그때 디바디야 해도 말이야 싸우요 말아 다 간다 다 놓고 와 어디 소자 나가서 주소 소위들 나서 디바티스 마사바 깔래 가고 싶지래 이노 수도 디바사잖아 네, 딱 리수 야부 주스사 들리 많이 봤으면 제박도는 맞아 네뭐 도시도는 당분 제박 제우디 제박이 표현 좀 쉬지다 당분 주세도 지야 네뭐 도시는 어디 샤도 친구와 어디 쓰는 맞아 예 소소게 아 소소 가진 조바이나 딱 건반진 조바이나 가원 조바이나 딱 무슨 거지래서 소소 샤도 제가 리상도 당들 야고 있어.
Yeah, so how say, I'm very happy that you all pay good attention to Bodhisattva vows. Really appreciate that. So regarding vows, and in this particular case, we are talking about Bodhisattva vows. Then is one of them. As in, my advice to you is do not disregard vows. Do not disregard it, or do not belittle those vows, thinking that I break lah. Then I say we shouldn't have these kinds of thinking in relation to vows. So even I say we should recognize that it's a breach of vows, it's a transgression of vow. Then I say we should generate a strong regret. Then I say if we do so, then it will make the negativities, it will purify the negativities, or it will make the negativities smaller or lighter. So, and also shouldn't, when we finish the actions of that negativities, and it's also very important not to have the idea that, as it is done, then I say, and thinking that, or I say it ends well, then we shouldn't have this kind of thinking. Or it ends well, okay, it's done, is okay, yeah, we shouldn't have these kind of thoughts. Then it's very important to generate regret, even when we walk, then we step on many sentient beings also, right? And then we kill sentient beings as well. So it's also very good to have to think about, to regret our negativities even when we walk.
Yeah, thank you. That three days shower. That gen as a nation, she didn't go ma. She did not be my lodge. That is also top level in a way I want to go. Ma notice also top level in a gen as a dwelling chain.
Yeah, so next class I'm going to talk about 46 secondary vows. Then it is very good to read those 46 vows before we come to class.
Excuse me. Next Saturday class, the date is 19, is election day.
I think there's no class that day. Yeah, next class is the following Saturday.
It's 19th of November.
Yes. Sally made the announcement already. Thanks.
It's a big day.
Yeah. That is to just stop here. Thank you. Yeah. I'm also get at the end of the world. Gates or chicken budget and the world. On such a show with the tendency to change Thomas Sasha, see you on Timber and reading the same thing about the show with Jebatan. How about the then a current how about your Jajama Savaramachi? Show Timber and reading the same thing about the show with Jebatan. Other than Mount to the Nialas of the age, Sinjay said that he seen the same Thomas Department Sanji Combined to that. Mount to the Nialas of the Doya. And then the Pachiday. And Yavanata. So someone and that member in a measure in a benjo to Robachina, Crown, Samu, and that's the Chipisu Sobata, Sanji Comba, you to the deeper gates up. You were sure that you want the James.
We will conclude this session with dedication. We dedicate the roots of virtue that we accumulated, especially through these Dharma discussions, to the flourishing of Buddha Dharma and for the excellent happiness of all sentient beings. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to all upholders of Buddha's teaching, represented by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. May they live eons long, excellent health, and may their enlightened activities and holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously and spread to all their directions. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue, especially to our beloved teacher, Kyabje Lama Sopa Rinpoche. May Rinpoche live eons long, excellent health, and may Rinpoche's enlightened activities and holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously and spread to all 10 directions. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to the world peace, and may excellent happiness prevail the world. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue we also dedicate these roots of virtue to those who pass away and those who suffer because of pandemic, disaster, wars, conflict. Then may their negativities and suffering be pacified immediately and quickly achieve the state of enlightenment. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to those who help others, such as those who help others, who give financial support to others. May they live eons long, may their life be free of obstacles, excellent health, and may their wishes be accomplished instantaneously. And we also, sorry.
Dagi jene zabe giwa de de
Wakula kambena kiwa jitsu lo sam chaba yi tembe nyingbo rindu se je jo janju semjo rinpo je ma ki pana ki kyu je kieba nyamba me ba ya kundu me wa jo jambe ba wu ji da kimba na kundu sambo de ya de jin de da kuge jesu da lo je kiwa de da tam je ra do mo yesu lu ju be lang chi chi se se kan jin je ma ki pana ki kyu je kieba nyamba me ba ya konde kundu be wa jo rinpi tawa rinpo je ma ki pana ki kyu je kieba nyamba me ba ya konde kundu be wa jo ni jambe ge be den jing yo be be kun so do bo ze chu sun gu we le men du du ba da so du je kun do sha de jo in je sun do ju be lang chi se 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 kan ji den du kun cha na pe mo den jing ga so la so wa de so xian den lu do jo kan de pen de ma lu ba kan de ju me sam be yi xin no ka din su me den jing ga so la so wa de so du xie lu do jo 因为各位新干的本当的话嘛，旅中为呢，接着是往电信搞作为下边是的把都定有去。Thank you everyone.
Thank you, Geshe-la, Ken.